Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at ARBITRUM. This is going to be a lower time frame video. There is a higher time frame video up above, so check that out if that's more what you're interested in. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the potential of that bullish case where we're saying that this is a completed move into this high here, and what we would then be saying is that effectively we are looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, if this is the case, what we're doing is taking our A wave into this high point here. And what we are saying is that we would have then had this as a 5-wave move to the downside here. Now, what we'd be looking as a common rejection area would actually be this $1.17 to this $1.21. Now, it is possible that we have already completed this B wave because we did come up very close to this 50% line already here. And we could see this actually just directly break to the downside where this becomes A, B, and C. Now, if we did see something along those lines, effectively what we'd then be looking for is this lower target here, which would be this $1.03 as a potential one-to-one given this current area here. Now, it is possible that this B wave is not completed yet, so we need to just bear that in mind. If we see this directly break down and we see another 5-wave move, I would be very interested to keep an eye on this one-to-one. But as well as that, we have this level here of this 105.58 rather, and that would be potentially looking to swing fail off this low. So gonna have to keep an eye on this. If we do see price move down into this level again, possibly we could look to find support on this and then look to move back to the upside. So the idea within this is that we're looking for this as an ABC coming back into this 106 to this 97 cent region, and then looking for that possibility of this C wave to the upside. Now, what we could argue is that within this, it's not completed this B wave, and what we could see is rather something along these lines where we actually see this develop in this way, where this is an A wave. We come back down, look to find support here in this $1.13 to this $1.11 area, and then look for an additional push to the upside in this C wave. So if we're looking at this as corrective, we'd be saying this is ABC. If we started to move above this 1618 area here, even though it's not my primary count here, we'd have to be careful that this doesn't become 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to the upside here. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. This is very corrective looking at the moment. I wouldn't like to say that this is an impulsive structure here, but you know, potentially we could argue there's something like a diagonal developing here, but even then the internals really aren't great. It would make more sense that this is just a wave up here. We get a B wave down and then a C wave, or it could be W, X, and Y if we get 3 waves in this move, but the idea would be the same, looking to potentially target out this one-to-one. Now, we also do have some target areas lower down, which could be quite interesting, particularly if they align with this high. So a 0.618 off of this 618 down here, which would be this $1.12. This would align with actually coming back and forming a double top. So I will be keeping an eye on that. If we see price come down here, A, B, C, and then we see another move to the upside, potentially in a 5-wave move, looking to target out this 0.618, that could align with that idea of just having this as a double top. Alternatively, if we push up higher, we have the 786, which is up here at this $1.18, and then that one-to-one, like I said, would be higher up. So if we actually overlay this onto that idea of having the B wave down, we can see that this golden pocket area here is at this 119 to this 118 area. That would align with coming up towards this one-to-one, and then alternatively this lower area here could align with coming into this 50% at this $1.17 level. So gonna have to keep an eye on that. If we do see price actually move up into those levels, that could potentially look for a rejection around that zone. So this is looking for the possibility of just having a corrective move up. Now, this is valid for as long as we hold this $1.10, and then we could actually look for progression to the upside. What we need to be careful of here is that there's a couple of ways that this could look to still see some downside. So one of them is that we have a bigger corrective move here, where we're actually looking at this as an A wave into this high. We're looking at this as A, B, and C, and then we are looking for the potential that this B wave here is still not complete. So this is actually the first leg of that. So that would be looking at something along these lines, where we'd be treating this as a W here. And then what we'd be looking for would be the potential that if we do see a move back to the upside, same idea as we just talked about, where this becomes ABC. And if we do see 3 waves down, which actually moves back into this one-to-one region, and we don't get a 5-wave move down, potentially what we could actually see is that possibility of coming into this 109 as a 1-to-1, or alternatively, which would be far more interesting to me, is this 1618 level lower down here, which would be looking for that possibility of coming into these lows again. So gonna have to keep an eye on this. If we do see 3 waves up and we only develop 3 waves down and actually look to retest this lower support zone again, that would align with coming into this 1-to-1 area. So it could be quite an interesting area to keep an eye on. Now, we also discussed the possibility of looking for a bigger breakout in the higher time frame video where this is 1212. Now, we don't have enough information here to say that, you know, this is actually playing out and that we have this wave 2 already here. But if we do actually start to see price reversing to the upside and we see a bigger move up to this 147 area, potentially we could actually look for this third wave to be playing out. But it would honestly be more likely to me that, you know, we've got another leg down if this is going to play out. But like I said in the higher time frame video, the fact this wave 2 is smaller than the lesser degree wave 2 is making this very unlikely. It is an alternate count for me at this moment, so we'll have to see if that actually looks to play out here. Now, if we are looking at the more bearish case, what we could be saying is that within this structure we could actually be looking to break down here. So that would be treating this as a wave 1 and then looking for this as a wave 2. Now, the key thing within this is our typical rejection zone would be this 121.18 to this 115.30. So this would be looking at that possibility that, you know, we have come up here already into this 382. We've come up to this 50% here. If we break down in a bigger way here, we could actually see, like I said in the previous option, that we could have this just as A, B, C, in which case that $1.03 is going to be quite an interesting zone. Alternatively, if we start to break down in a much more impulsive way and we actually push down toward this 95 cent 73 region, this could align with us having an additional 4th and a 5th, which looks to push us down towards this 94 cent to this 91.38. And then what we'd be looking for then would be that potential of having that bigger breakdown here where we actually look to possibly come back into this channel. We don't have to. What I would be looking as a possible target for this, however, would be this 0.618 here at this 89 cent region. That I'd really want to hit that, and our 1-to-1 target would actually be this 88.54. So be keeping an eye on this. If we do start to break down here in a bigger way, potentially we could actually be starting a bigger 5-wave move down here, in which case you know, it's more likely that we are in this WXY option where we're going to be looking for this lower target area to play out here. Now, invalidation of this comes by crossing this $1.24. If we see price move back up above this zone, this invalidates the idea that this can be 1-2. Really, once we start to lose 121, it starts to become less probable. So, you know, we need to just be aware that this is going to be our key area that we're looking for as a possible zone where we could look for, you know, that indication whether this count is going to work or not. Now, the interesting thing about this is that right at this 786 up here, we do have a naked point of control on the daily, which is sitting at this 121.12. So if we do see price do this, we get some kind of a sideways move here and we push up one more time, I would be very interested to see how we react around this level, because this would be a 786 retracement and looking to sweep this naked point of control here, which could then actually change these targets to the downside slightly. But effectively, the idea would be the same. We'd only invalidate this by moving above $1.2447. I just want to go over the daily CPR first, and what we can see here is that we've actually moved back into these central CPR lines here. We are currently finding support on this central line here towards this 114.31. If we do continue to hold this, potentially we could see price move to the upside in a bigger way. So if we do see this actually play out, what we could have is that this move could be looking to extend up, where potentially this becomes A, B, C. We have this as a smaller B wave, and then we still look for that push to the upside here, looking for a bigger move. Or alternatively, we see that breakdown and then looking to find support on this lower line, which is here at this 113, and then looking for that continuation to the upside for that C wave. So if we do push up here, we do have an interesting area here, this 118.57, which would also align with this golden pocket that we have here at this 119 to this 118 level. And then if we do actually look to push up higher, what we do have is the S2 sitting here at this $1.25. We have the S3 at this $1.29. And, you know, those would be our upside targets. If we start to break down, however, what we do have is the R1 sitting at this 107. We have this 103.48. Now, this aligns with that idea of coming down to this 1-to-1. So I would be interested to see how we react. We will get new CPR lines printed tomorrow, though, for the daily. Now, if we do look to move down deeper here, we have the R3 at this 96.98 and the R4 down here towards this 92.67 level. So it could be interesting to see how we react around those zones. Now we're going to look at the weekly here. What we can see is that on the weekly CPR, we actually found support on these blue lines. Now, this is interesting because we also have this S1 line here, which we have retested at this $1.19 already. So I want to see if price actually comes back up here. Possibly what we could see is a sweep of this level before that continuation down if we're looking for this bearish idea here. Or alternatively, you know, if we do look to break above this zone, what we could actually see is the potential to come up to this S2 line here at this 128. The S3 line here at this 139, and that would be looking for those upside targets. Now, if we fail to actually hold these central CPR lines here, and we break down back below this zone here of this $1.10 to this $1.07, potentially what we could see is price could get gravitated down here towards this R1 line, which is actually sitting at $1 exactly. So psychological level, we have the R2 at this 89.73, and we have this R3 all the way down here at this 81.21. So these will get new lines printed as of next week. So we just need to obviously bear that in mind. If we are looking at the monthly CPR lines, what we can see is this is painting us a slightly different picture here. So on the monthly CPR lines, we've actually lost this this zone. So if we do move back up here, some of these lines could align with that idea of resistance. We have the lower line at this 117.40, we have the middle line at this 118.76, and we have this 120 level towards this towards the higher end of our target box here. So if we are looking at these CPR lines, as long as we are below these, we have the potential that we could look to move down and retest a lower level. So we do have this area sitting towards this 98.41, which would be quite an interesting zone. If we have a look at it, you can see that this has been quite well respected as support and resistance over here. So if we did see price break down into this level, potentially what we could see is something like a bounce. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to reverse, but we could see some kind of a reaction around this zone, and this would tie into that idea of this third wave to the downside, or potentially this being a bigger ABC with a slight extension that fails to actually hit this 1618. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. Obviously it is the 29th today, so we don't have much more time for these, but if we do look to break down here, we also have the 80-cent region as the R2, and then we have the R3 sitting lower down here towards the 60-cent zone. So going to be keeping an eye on this. If price does actually start to fall away in a bigger way here, those can potentially be some price targets to keep an eye on. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you will find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it is free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.